Hey lovely people, welcome back to my channel. It's been some time since I've been on this thing, but I've been super busy just trying to get my life together, approaching the end of the year, so there's a lot to organize. Anyway, let me just get straight into it because so many people send me messages about this topic and it's a bit of a patchy one because you don't know what to say and what not to say, you know? As you know, I quit my job about 4 months. Oh my days, did I say 4 months? 4 years and 8 months ago, because it was February, wasn't it? Yeah, it was February. And I wrote a blog about it. I'll post a link, like, you know, you have a blog because like you have nothing else to do. I had a blog once upon a time. Anyway, I wrote about it in my blog about like, maybe like a few days after I quit my job, and then about 4 or 5 months after the point I quit my job. So at that point, it was just very fresh. I just was literally like a newborn baby in this whole freelance world. And I kind of felt like I had it all together. You know, I was very confident, like, you know, God has got me, I got this. You know what people say when they're very confident, but then they don't really know what they're doing, kind of just like blag it. I feel like the gap between confidence and pretending you know what you want to do is called blagging. I really want to tell you the truth about this freelance life. Well, I guess my truth, it might not be the same for everybody, but I feel like the more people I speak to about like being a freelancer and working for yourself, it's pretty much like the same story. So I really want this video to be for someone that is thinking about going freelance or thinking about quitting their job, is thinking about like moving on to something else. There's so many things that you really need to know before you move on to that next stage. Because if somebody had told me, hey, Jesus, you know the ones where you feel like you could have saved like so much pain and so much like hardness in your life if you only just like knew how certain things would turn out. Okay, number one, money. Money was a complete myth. I had no money at all. I had no savings when I left my job. I had nothing to fall back on. I literally had like nothing. And I just threw like a major event, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks before quitting my job. So yeah, I just like literally used everything I had. But I was just like, yeah, my faith is going to be so strong. I'm going to believe that God will provide for me. And God really did provide for me. But a major mistake that I made was not saving before I quit my job. I wish I had at least, even if it's £100 you have, I wish I had at least £100 just to sustain me, yeah, for at least a few weeks. Like I literally went into it with nothing, blindsided, and I guess it is probably one of my biggest regrets. In general, I struggled with saving, and I think I'm going to make a video on this one day, but I struggled with saving majorly, and until I met my husband is only when I really started to save. So I guess up to quitting my job to meet my husband, which was about like 3 years, I had like nothing. So it was a struggle for me to like get on the bus. It was a struggle for me to go to friends' birthdays. It was a struggle for me to like buy new clothes, replace my makeup, do my hair. My hair was completely scattered for a very long time because I just couldn't afford it. And I wasn't trying to lie about this life. Like if you've been following me for a couple of years, my fashion sense has kind of like gone like this. Because quite frankly, I couldn't afford to buy clothes. Done, dusted. Yeah, money is a complete myth until you break even. I didn't really break even until I would say like my 2nd or 3rd year. And when I say break even, I mean like everything that I was spending, like investing in myself, I didn't see a return of that until like I said, like year 2 and 3. So it's just a lot to think about. Like, don't just dive straight into it. Really get yourself together. You have to be calculated, you have to be intentional about what you're going to do, and money is a really good place to start. Like, think about how much you want to put aside for your rainy days, how much you want to put aside for travel, how much you want to put aside to start your business idea if you have one. Next thing, your brain, your mind. When I tell you that it is like, as much as it is financially strenuous, it's mentally strenuous as well, because you have to like constantly think, how am I gonna make my next paycheck? Honestly, that's like 90% of what runs through my mind most of the time. Like, how am I gonna meet this bill? How am I gonna pay my rent? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? And you know, thank you if you have read my blog. I'm not saying that I retract what I'm saying, but it was so easier said than done. Now I've passed through like so much stuff. I can confidently say like God was on my side, hands down. Like so many miracles, so many amazing things happened. But it challenges you mentally to stay in your faith, like to stay in what you believe in, to keep believing, God, I believe you, God, you're going to provide for me tomorrow. Because when bad things happen, let's say for example, like let's say you get like a fine, or you I don't know, your rent goes up, or something happens where you have to put more money into it, and it literally disrupts everything you've got planned out because of the little money you're already getting. It really like it can actually cause you to like lose your marbles. You can actually, there was a time that I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like I was like literally, I felt like I needed to talk to psychiatrist, because I just couldn't think straight. I was constantly worried of like how I was gonna meet stuff, constantly like even like what am I gonna eat and what am I gonna do. You know, I had like major things come up, like friends' weddings. You know, as you get older, you reach that point where everyone is getting married and it's like, how am I gonna pay for my bridesmaid's dress, and how am I gonna do this, how am I gonna do that? And I guess like planning is so important. Like you need a solid plan to get through this, but then you also need to be right in your mind. Like you have to say to yourself, whatever happens, I'm gonna pass through it. I'm gonna, you know, God will make a way. You know, it's hard to stay firm in your faith. It's so easy to say stay strong, believe in God, but to actually stay in your faith is like the most challenging thing. So it will challenge you mentally. It will challenge like your emotional state as well. Oh my gosh, when like people say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, you can actually crumble if you're not like strong emotionally and mentally. If you, let's say, like miss a deadline, or maybe you like put in a proposal for something and you don't get it, you might feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. Like you will be challenged in your mental state and your emotional state. But again, like you have to resolve in yourself that I'm not gonna lose a plot.
I refuse to lose my mind for this thing.
At the end of the day, this is just work, this is just business. Like it's, you know, you have your life, you have the air that you breathe that God has given you. So like I think staying grateful as well is a major key. Staying grounded as well, like not losing the plot so much that you stop talking to your friends, you stop going to church, maybe you stop going to this, stop going to that. Like work can actually really get you down, and it's because like the pressure is on you to really make it and sustain yourself. So honestly, it's like a reality. Like I've passed through all of this, and look guys, I'm still here. Another major thing is how much support you get. My mum was like my biggest supporter. God bless my mother. Like the day that I left my job, she was just like, do you know what? I'm going to be here for you. I support you. She hardly pressurized me. Sometimes it got to a point where she was like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like I borrowed you £10 last week. Maybe you should think about doing a cleaning job. Maybe you should think about that. It was like that, but not pressurized as in like, you have to get a job like right now. So I really thank God for my mum, but I know like everyone is not in that same boat. So if you decide to quit your job, I would say talk about it with the person you live with, talk about it with your spouse first before you make that huge decision, because they might not be okay with it, but they might be okay with it. But it's important that it's okay like with everybody. I feel like it's a very selfish thing to dive in to self-employment and you haven't really like checked in with the people around you who rely on you, who you may support as well. So please make sure that you do that. Then on the opposite end, you might feel like people should support you more. So you might feel like, oh my gosh, like why aren't you recommending me? Why aren't you giving me this job? Oh, you're my friend, why didn't you hire me? Like that, all that needs to go out the window at the end of the day, business is business. If someone doesn't employ you, they don't employ you. Like, never really take it personal, and never take it personal when like your friends can't support you in your business. They might not be able to, but they might be able to support you in other areas. So you might be able to holler at a friend and they're like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, you know, let's go out, let's, you know, go for a drink or whatever. But they might not be able to support you like in like literally the nitty-gritties of your business. I feel like it's, again, like selfish to demand that from someone who isn't capable of giving that to you. So be careful not to fall in that trap, because you might lose some friends. Another stage you might get in your self-employed life is feeling like you want to give up. Sorry, just when I said that, I just had a flash of like all the times that I wanted to give up and I didn't. But then I kind of did in my mind. You might feel like you want to give up, and that is completely normal. You will actually get to the point where you will feel like you want to give up. But please, 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 I always say, until you have exhausted every avenue, don't give up. That might mean asking a friend for a favor. That might mean reaching out to a company saying, hey, can I do this work for you for free? That might mean borrowing equipment from somebody. There's never really a dead end. Like, there's never really a point you can get to where it's just like, oh my gosh, like there's no way out of here. There's always a way out. Like, and I believe that God will always give you a way out as well. Some businesses take 1 year to get off the ground. Some businesses take 5 years to get off the ground. Some businesses take 10 years. Like, we all know the story of like the KFC guy in his like, I think it was like 60 or something. I need to research it, but anyway, I think it was like 60 or something. And that was at that point, he'd been doing KFC for like many years. And at that point, in his age, he felt like, okay, yes, you know, let me just, you know, round things up. Like, it's not really like getting anywhere. And then all of a sudden, the God of suddenly, all of a sudden, like things can just like change. And you know, the most amazing thing, social media has opened up like so much opportunity for people to just like explode. How many videos have you seen of just like ordinary people just like doing like random stuff or releasing their material? Then all of a sudden, like it just blows up, and then they just make their break, and then like they get millions and all that stuff. You know, like you kind of just don't know when your break is gonna come. But it's just up to you to decide within yourself that I won't give up until my break comes. Standard. Now, something that people rarely talk about, is when something is clearly not working and when you should pull the plug. So I kind of touched on like not giving up, but there's something I want to say in terms of like when you know that you should give something up. When you know that you should give something up is when you've tried everything, you've actually tried every single avenue, and you keep trying those things and it's not working. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, don't say I'm contradicting to myself because I got a point here. So you have created bottled products called Bottle Ink. Don't steal my business idea, Bottle Ink, you've created your bottles, you've sent it out to every influencer in the world. Everyone has got back to you saying that it's caused them to have burning on their skin. You have changed your product, still people are not receiving it. You've now reached year 10. You've sent it to Tesco, you've sent it to Sainsbury's. They've sent your products back to you because nobody has bought it off the shelf. You know, you have other opportunities that are making more money. You're just putting so much energy into something and it's not giving you a return. And again, you've tried like everything, you've exhausted every avenue and it's not working. At that point, I would say pull the plug, because you're now like being drained of your emotions, of your mental state, of everything. Like everything, you've exhausted yourself, you've exhausted the product, everything has been exhausted. At that point, you should give it up, because again, it can affect you mentally, and it's not good for anybody's health to just keep pushing, and it's always a dead end. And that might mean also that you have to focus your effort in other areas, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to give up something to do something else. But I would say don't give up something and you're just left like do nothing and being a bum. That's not good. Lastly, something I want to talk about is benefits. When you're self-employed, you can be on benefits. And it's entirely up to you. Like, don't feel ashamed. It's okay. Like, getting JSA or getting any other form of benefits or funding or bursaries or loans, it's okay. Just be able to sustain it. Be able to, if you are going to get JSA, make sure you're on time, obviously, for your appointments. If you got JSA before, you know exactly what I mean. If you miss that one appointment, you have to reapply it all over again. And that's long. So yeah, make sure you keep up with it, and you don't have to expose that to the whole world. Like, you don't have to tell everybody that, oh, I'm on benefits, blah, blah, blah. I guess not many people do speak up about it, but it's okay if that's what's going to get you by until your business or your idea starts to generate some kind of income, then do it. I personally wasn't on benefits because I decided that it's not what I want for myself. I didn't want to start relying on that income because I really wanted to push myself. I'm just that kind of person. But if you don't have that tenacity, I would say just cover yourself in that short amount of time, and never feel ashamed to get like a mini job whilst you're working on what you're doing. Many people will tell you, oh, just don't worry, like eventually you'll break through, da 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 da. But at the end of the day, those people that are saying that are not gonna pay your bills, so you have to keep yourself ticking over in some kind of way. So yeah, get a cleaning job if you have to. Go and work in Tesco. It's like, there's no shame in that. Of course, we want to all be appearing to stunt on the gram and appearing that we've got it all together and we have this dream job. But everyone, trust me, everybody that you see online that is doing big things had to start from somewhere. We all had to do jobs that we hate. So never feel ashamed to cover your bills or your rent and to do what you have to do. The only thing I'll say is don't go strip. Don't sell your body for money. Yeah, I have like so much more to say on like self-employed life. I feel like this video is just long anyway. So if you've got any like questions that you want to ask me, I'm so happy to do like a live video or something if you request it in the comments box. But yeah, feel free to drop me some questions, and I especially answer questions on Instagram story. So follow me on Instagram. My Insta name is @Dorothy7_, and I'll be so happy to answer your questions. Thanks for listening again, guys. I know this is super long. Oh my gosh, my face start. Oh, we're back. Thanks for listening, and I hope you can subscribe to my channel. Make sure you follow me on social media, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.
Grant all my wishes, but you don't take me for granted. You be my number one.